Hey guys, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a case that felt like a permanent shadow over New York for over a decade. Imagine living your life in a quiet suburb, commuting to the city, maybe grabbing a coffee at the same spot every morning. All while your neighbor is harboring a secret so dark it feels like something out of a mid-2000s horror flick. We're talking about the Gilgo Beach murders. For 13 years, the Long Island serial killer was a ghost, a boogeyman. But in July 2023, the ghost finally got a face. And it wasn't some drifter or a cinematic monster. It was Rex Heuermann, a 59-year-old architect, a father, and, by all accounts, the guy next door who just happened to have a very disturbing obsession with burner phones and burlap. Let's get into it. The story actually starts in 2010, not with Rex, but with a woman named Shannon Gilbert. She went missing after a frantic 911 call, screaming that someone was after her. While police were searching the thick brambles along Ocean Parkway for Shannon, they found something else. Something much worse. Four bodies, all wrapped in camouflaged burlap. All young women. They became known as the Gilgo Four. The island was paralyzed. Who was doing this? The search eventually uncovered even more remains, 10 victims in total. But then, the trail went cold. For years, the case gathered dust, until a new task force decided to look at the tiny details everyone else missed. So, who was Rex Heuermann? To his colleagues in Manhattan, he was a powerhouse architect. He knew the building codes better than anyone. He was meticulous. He was boring. But if you looked closer at his childhood in Massapequa Park, the cracks were already there. Rex grew up in the very same house where he was eventually arrested. His father, Theo, was a quiet man who worked at an aerospace company but spent his free time in a basement workshop, reportedly making furniture and working with tools. Rex followed in those footsteps, both the craftsmanship and the seclusion. Neighbors from his youth described him as a bit of a loner, the kind of kid who was always there but never really present. He lived his whole life in that house. He got married, had children, and built a successful business. But while he was filing permits for skyscrapers, he was allegedly curated a hunting lifestyle. How did they catch him? Honestly, it was a mix of old-school detective work and modern tech. Detectives found that the victims were contacted by burner phones. They traced those phones to two specific areas: Midtown Manhattan, near Rex's office, and Massapequa Park, near Rex's home. Then came the pizza. In early 2023, surveillance teams watched Rex toss a pizza box into a trash can in Manhattan. They grabbed the crust, tested the DNA, and matched it to a hair found on one of the victims, Megan Waterman. The odds of it being anyone else. Court quote, "The DNA profile from the pizza crust is 1.6 quadrillion times more likely to be the defendants than anyone else in the general population." That's not just a maybe. That's a "we got you." When Rex was finally brought in, he didn't exactly break down and sob. He was described as stoic, even clinical. He reportedly asked his lawyers one chilling question after his arrest. Rex Heuermann, is it in the news? He wasn't worried about his family. He was worried about his legacy. But the most terrifying part of this case came out during the discovery phase. Investigators found a planning document on a hard drive in his home. It wasn't a blueprint for a building. It was a blueprint for murder. The document included categories like essential supplies, pre-prep, and body prep. It talked about target selection and how to avoid leaving DNA. It was the mind of a predator organized into a Microsoft Word doc. Court transcript. The defendant's planning document reveals a cold, calculated methodology, a checklist for the unthinkable. What's wild is how Rex reacted in court. While the prosecution read out the gruesome details of the Gilgo Four, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, and Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Rex just sat there. Sometimes he appeared to be crying. Other times he was totally blank. But the evidence kept piling up. They found more than 200 guns in his house. A literal arsenal behind a locked metal door in his basement. A basement that his own family was reportedly forbidden from entering. One of the most haunting quotes from the investigation came from a witness who encountered Rex before the murders. They described him as someone who could switch in a second from a professional architect to someone with a dead stare. So why does this case matter so much? Because for 13 years, the victims were dismissed. Because they were sex workers, some people, including some in law and order, didn't give them the dignity of an aggressive investigation. But the families never gave up. And now, as the trial unfolds, we're seeing that Rex wasn't just a ghost. He was a man who thought he was the smartest person in every room. He thought his architectural precision would help him build the perfect crime. He was wrong. Rex Heuermann is currently awaiting trial, facing multiple counts of first and second-degree murder. More charges are expected as they link him to other remains found along that desolate stretch of highway. It's a reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes, it looks like a guy in a suit, carrying a briefcase, heading to a 9 to 5, and coming home to a quiet house in the suburbs. What do you guys think? Was he just a meticulous guy who finally slipped up? Or are there even more secrets buried in that Massapequa Park basement? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the cases that keep us up at night. Stay safe out there.